the 6 kilowatt, 8 kilowatt yung maximum PV input. There are times na minsan the availability of the PV nag-exceed kami instead like 8 kilowatt, magiging like 8.1 or 8.2 kilowatt. Is it okay na mag-exceed kami sa 8 kilowatt rather than lower than 8 kilowatt?
Well, when it comes to over-provisioning, it's always good to have an over-provision PV. But it's more of a design approach on how do you do that. It also depends on which part of the country you are. In my case, which I reside somewhere in Benguet, it's colder. So my 3 kilowatt really exceeds even my IMP is greater than
the one you went to.
So one is
Many
depends here. That's why you need to
vegetables.
understand. One is climate.
Cold. Yeah, cold.
Second is if you would check
You want?
most of the I would say most of the data stuff, solar
why,
farms, they have parameter because of that. You know, weather. If you can imagine, they study the weather, they study the wind and everything. So when it comes to over-provisioning, it's more of the approach of how do you say design it, because one, all GTIs can do rate limiting. If it's too much, it will rate limit. You know, the current will be rated. You know? But just have protections for over voltage.
Considering the voltage of the PV, ISC, IMP or anything, lahat pasok siya. Okay? In reality naman kasi, here in the Philippines, you don't get 100% harvest. For my experience, average mga around 70% production. Pinaka-peak ko na yung 90%. So, if I'm going to put up 8, maximum is 8 kilowatt yung old version, and then I put up 8.2. So, ang topic lang is yung wattage. Does it matter if I go or exceed on the 8 kilowatt or tolerable pa rin sa system yun?
Tolerable for the system. The system can delay whatever excess that you have.
Okay.
That's plain and simple. Any grid tie inverters, hybrid inverters, when you over provision, it will only output based on its maximum current input. The rest is good
Thank you.
to compensate on climbing. You see, there cloudy skies. So it also good to have slightly over provision PVs. But again, it's an approach and how do you do that?
Yes. Kasi di ba, there are times na like, yung TV mo, yung cable, losses. Ang daming losses. Factors like yung mga clouds natin, nagbabari.
True.
So, and then kapag nagkaroon ka ng immediate na, inaprubahan na, pero hindi available yung PV, like instead na 400 watts, kailangan mo na 20 para 8 kilowatt, meron 455. Mga tipong gano'n. So, siyempre gusto mo i-maximize yung full capacity ng inverter. Usually, ang question majority namin, okay lang pag sumobra ka sa 8 kilowatt. Tanong namin sa
Yes, it is.
So okay lang. So kung ano yung maximum niyang pwedeng ilabas, like 8 kilowatt, hanggang 8 kilowatt lang, whether mas mataas pa yung kaya ng panel.
Yes.
Okay.
But there's a caveat to it.
Yes.
If you over provision and it hits 8 kilowatt, the heat also goes up.
Yes.
So that's why ventilation is crucial. It's very important when you're doing a mounting. Kasi may nakikita ko dito kasi sa gabi, talagang sobrang init. If you don't have a fan for it, that's why some people would put a fan just to dissipate the heat.
Okay, second question for that. That's why I got interested with the Solis product because it's fanless. But I have one question with Sir Joel because one of the inverter, nag-fault siya na fan error. How come nagkaroon siya ng fan error na it is fanless?
There are some models that are fan inside, small ones. There are some models, like I think 6 kilowatt or the hybrid. I have to check. Because I haven't experienced yet. Someone is asking if there's a fan error on the hybrid. I haven't received any data. I'll check.
Kasi Mark, di ba, technically, pag fanless, alam mas durable siya. Okay?
Yes.
Kasi pag fan, usually 3 years, electronics,
Because
the most 5 years, moving
moving
parts.
parts.
So, like Day, I like the Day, pero nakita ko meron siyang fan sa loob, parang dismaya ako. Okay? So, when I saw the Solis, it's fanless, kaya doon ako nagka-interest.
Remember, just for everybody's information, the rating starts at 45C. No? So that means, I posted it, that means that when you reach 45C, your output also goes down. Because that's the maximum heat that it can handle when it comes to performance. We all
Okay.
know that heat normally is just a byproduct of the components it's running. Diba?
Okay.
And para ng kotse, diba? If it's overheated, masisira talaga. Yeah, it cuts short of your life. Because remember, when this one are tested, diba? This one, all hardware, lights, everything, all hardware are testing about mean time before failure. Diba? So sabihin na, the lights, yes, normal operations, it can go 50,000 hours. Diba? But that's an average because they put thousands of lights and put it on a test. Some of it will have a failure shorter than the expected life expectancy. So that's why when it's too much heat, you make sure that you also balance it your design. So that's why it's important na design. Now this one, hopefully, with the parallel system, you can now adjust whether you want to push the limit of your hardware or serve as your capacity reserve. Because it's a different thing. There are two different aspects. You have your say 6 kilowatt, push it to the limits, or you have 2 and you have to have as a reserve in case there's a need. So, which do you think will have a longer life? So, the prospective installer, it is your responsibility also to address it to your client. So, this will happen if we do that, or this will happen. So, to be able to have a reserve, and our hardware is not that, taxing, then we can have parallel in that sense. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, sir.
You have heard for the newer versions, we're using meters now. No?
Yes, sir.
Yes, specifically my question is for for the CT, no? For the CT lamps. So are the old CT lamps compatible with the new versions of inverters?
Some ask already that, but I'm not suggesting it to use because they have a different ratio. Even though they have the same when you I would say divided, they have the same 3,000 ratio, but the secondary coil is different. So because what happens is your meter is designed on that specific CT ratio, not on the inverter that will adjust. So what will happen is your meter, your inverter will just read whatever is being fed by your meter. So there's a danger in it. Now, if you think during the replacement is okay, you have to observe. And also, the good thing about meter is right now, there's always a question of, my CT is too far from my inverter. With the meter, you can now move it closer without cutting your CT, because you can extend your meter using a RG45 coupler. So instead, say from here, remember the meter, when it comes to RS45, whoever is not working guys in here, maximum length is 1 kilometer. But we don't want to do that. At least an effective range is only 100 meters. So if your inverter is too far from the main line, all you have to do is to move your meter near to the main line and don't extend the CT. So that way, it's let's say your communication link is still fast because it's just running under
No,
RS45.
I do not know.
Not on the meter side, which is going to extend impedance to your
That's too long.
NAV.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later offline.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and secondly, where you're talking about reliability. What's the MTBF of Solis inverters? What's the mean time before failure?
That one, that's why it's
In normal conditions,
I go to toilet.
how many
Yeah.
years?
Okay.
Based on
Yeah,
the
just leave your-
it's supposed to run on 10 years, right? Yeah. The MTBF is 10 years.
Is the MTBF results based on high accelerated stress test or
There's a let's say an option for that. That I want to have my warranty extended up to 50 years.
One more.
Go ahead.
Yeah, with regards to CT, no, for example, the newer versions, because they're designed for the with the meter, for example, for CT. But you told me there's a different CT ratio for the new versions, no? If I use an old CT and just change the parameter of the CT ratio, will it work? Because it can be changed. Right now it's 3,000:1, right?
Because the problem with it, the meter is hard-coded on the secondary coil. Hard-coded. So it's not recommended that you go to touch the meter part, because even if the same actual meter, the same, coming from the same, let's say, manufacturer, if you're going to use coming from the manufacturer, it will not run on Solis, because Solis has its own module that you need to load. So that's the difference. But I'll try to address that to the technical, that if there's a way that we could possibly change the ratio on the meter, that if it's say 0.33 amps right now, right?
Yeah, I mean in the inverter kasi there's a way to change the CT ratio.
Yeah, on the CT meter, on the ratio, because that's being fed from your meter. It's not being fed from the CT itself. So there are two types. There are two different communications involved. If it's CT, if it's CT, now your inverter acts as the one who will interpret based on the ratio that's being given by the meter itself. So regardless whether it's 5 amps secondary, 1 amp secondary, as long as the ratio is correct, all you have to do is to calculate it and put it in the inverter, that's fine. But now, it's different. Meter now sends only data to your inverter. It has its own calculation. It doesn't calculate, the inverter now doesn't calculate what CT that you have, because it's not visible on him. It's the meter that is talking to the CT. So that's the reason why, we don't encourage, if you have the existing meter, just plug it in. On the future, maybe I'm going to raise a concern that can we change the meter ratio reading on the meter itself. If say, because I have the meter is, as we all know, the meters only have specific thickness. I guess it's what, 16 mm, 25 mm. No, the meter CT. So it's very small. what if you can find another one which is that would fit? Because some are using 1 AWG, which it won't fit, right? So your question goes to that. Right now, we cannot change it, but it's a good question because I'm going to raise it that what if there's I need a different, I have a spare CP that I want to talk it to my meter and change it so that the meter and the inverter can talk properly. So that's a different ballgame, but that's a good question. I'm going to raise it.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah, Brian will handle it. Yeah, Brian, the question is how did they want to extend the warranty up to 15 years? What's the procedure?
I think after 15 years, you can extend 1 by 1 year. Maybe after 15 years, you can extend 5 years. 5 years, you can extend to 10 years. You can apply from, maybe you can, if you buy from distributor, you can ask them, you need to extend the warranty. We can, then we make an invoice to them. It's okay. You just told your distributors. We can change from the monitoring, it will extend to 10 years.
So we need to ask them to extend
Yeah.
every time we purchase the inverters.
Yes.
Okay. So do we pay for more? Are we going to pay for more for that extended warranty?
Yeah. The price, of course, the price different.
Okay.
We can talk about it later. You can ask your distributor.
No, I think it's more of distributor. Yeah, I think it's more of distributor prerogative when it comes to warranty extension. But the good thing is, you can extend it up to 15 years. So Emil is here. You can bump them after the.
Mark, I have a follow-up question to the CT sensor. Kasi so far, I have seen 2 meters. The Eastron and then the Acrel. So, and those 2 meters I saw with 2 different models of the hybrid inverter. One is the RHI, the older model, and the ones that recently arrived, what's this? EHI. EHI model. EHI. So, Eastron. The Eastron, the Manilais. Yeah.
No, the hybrid is EHI.
EHI. But the older one is RHI.
Correct.
The older ones, they come with the Acrel meters. And then the newer one comes with the Eastron. Is it correct that what needs to be matched is the CT sensor and the meter?
Correct.
But as far as the inverter is concerned, I can interchange the Acrel and the Eastron without
Yes.
any changes in the setting.
It's supposed to work that way.
Okay.
Because remember, the communication is from meter and inverter. So the ratio is within the meter and the CT.
Okay.
The new hybrid inverters with the Eastron meter, there is no option there for the Acrel meter.
No, just 1P. You have you can see 2 1Ps.
Okay.
So one is I forgot, but that's you can choose the 2 1P because there are different types of meters. I'll investigate further because right now I don't have a Eastron meter. So I'm going to ask Brian to send one and so that I'll be able to test it. Because what I have right now are 2 different types of meters, which is one is the inline, which like your meter from the Meralco, and the other one is meter type, meter with city type, which all you have to do is to clamp. So the Eastron I haven't yet, but I'm going to request that, so that I will be able to differentiate if we could change the CT ratio or the physical CT to a different ratio, and it will still work. Because the good thing about it, I have a lab, so I'm just going to test it.
So the meter can be interchanged, so as long as the CT matching the meter
Yes.
is correct.
Yeah. Because currently right now, we don't have functionality where you can change your CT ratio. Because the most important thing when it comes to CT ratio is your secondary coil. So if you're going to use a different CT which has a different secondary coil, that one we have an issue. But if it's the same secondary coil, no issues. It will work. Email is selling one. So for those who was looking for a large CT ratio for a meter, email has one.
Thank you.
14了，没有穿长袖，知道服务的4厘多。
One more question for you, Sir Brian. Can we design the inverters whenever we install 3 or more inverters, sir? We are required by Sir Mark to install an EPM. Can we design the inverters to talk to each other without the EPM? Because the EPM is costing us almost $1,000, sir. With the matching city sensors, it's so expensive for us to install that. It costs almost an inverter, the EPM, sir, just for the EPM. Can we design the inverter, sir, without the use of the EPM?
Yeah, I will just explain what's the the usage of your EPM. Your EPM is a very powerful hardware. The reason for that because some of our competitors are not selling an EPM, so that's why how come only Solis selling an EPM, especially on three-phase that you're going to
The EPM.
say
Which
parallel. Now, as I've been saying, when someone is asking me is, your EPM will act as a governor.
No, no.
You know, it will act as a governor, meaning
I think so.
also it will act as a governor. Second, it will also act as your external meter, external energy meter. When you install the EPM, I don't know if some of you are aware, make sure that the reading
It's
of
a
the
power
EPM
management.
is similar
Power
to your
management.
DU meter, because that's the basis. A lot of inquiries say the APM is not functioning well, and they don't know that their APM basically can tell that whatever you have, whatever's the meter reading on your DU should be equal. It can do that. Second, the reason why it's a governor, because if you have, you can just imagine if you have 5 GPIs and your load at the onset, is at the peak, you say you have 50 kilowatt load, at 30 kilowatt load, and yet you have 40 kilowatt production. So what will happen if it's all CT? Remember, our electricity, our load and electricity, it's always on delta. No, naghahabol yan. Uy, when one GPI would say I produce 8 kilowatt, the other one would say, oops, what I read is only at 7. I have 7, so I'll get the 7. Without the EPM, all of them will keep on adjusting. You don't have a uniform production because of that. But if you have the APM will instruct who among you has the highest, and I will just produce it I will just put the output going to the grid. That's the purpose of the APM. I can understand the concern of the installer because it really costs. It has an additional cost. I don't know. It's 1 KST. I just learned it. But yeah. So one is you have the EPM plus the 3 city sensors. Yeah, correct. But aside from it, looking at it more on the functional aspect, EPM is really important, especially if you are doing limiting. That's why, on most cases, if you have, if you can, there's a way that you'll be able to throttle your power. If you don't want to use the APM and you're waiting for your limiter, all you can do is to throttle your inverter. You can do that.
Later
How do
we
we do
will
that?
take photo.
Backflow. Just tell the inverter if my peak is only 10 kilowatt, then set your backflow to just 10 kilowatt, so that it will not go beyond. It's capping. It's more of a capping on the inverter side that it won't go exceed, because you instruct how the inverter works. So there's a lot of sometimes you get muddled by a lot of parameters due to the fact that you are concentrated more on how to run the system properly, and from the fact that you have another hardware that goes with it, that most cases it's not being properly discussed or properly explained. So if you're waiting for your net metering and you just want that your hardware will do capping, you can do that by setting the backflow. Because once you have the net metering, you can throw away your APM. But another aspects of the APM is the graph. It's a very good graph that you can show it to your clients that what you're currently using right now is your harvest is 30 kilowatt, your DU grid you're importing 5 kilowatt, and the total load is 35 kilowatt. That would really has an impact on the customer and appreciates that this is the graph that they need. That's why I keep on pushing on meters, because if you're an installer, you can show it to your client that this is the current situation of your system. You can also check the entire 24/7 load. Which time is your client using much of the power by using a meter and an EPM? So it's not like that. Once you install it, only harvest. No, there's a big factor for the APM that you can show more on the service side or support side, that you need what is up your consumption or your load during at night, because you're consuming more than 50 kilowatt hour at night, but only 20 kilowatt hour at day. Your APM can do that. Your meter also can do that. So that's also the importance of it. Other than the price. Well, the price is really, if you are bidding for someone else, it's really hard to not notice that there's an impact on the bidding. Any questions? So I hope I've explained it clearly. So if you want to ask something, anything about Solis and how, just contact me. Any questions? So Brian, when can we expect to have this new model released?
It will start this month, the end of this month.
December? November? Well, so by November it will be available. So it will be shipped on November.
Yeah.
So let's hope the customs will not hold it. So the customs
The
are.
end of this month.
Yeah,
November.
so that means the challenges is more on the custom side, because
We need ice.
they are the one to
No.
release it.
Icing.
But the good news is,
No.
by the end of November, it will be shipped
No ice.
to our
I need
stores.
ice. What?
Okay. That one goes to Emil, because I'm not a seller.
No. Price I think same as before. Not cheap.
Same, okay, that's good. So it's the same from the Re version, the other version. Is this a replacement for the Re? No. Is this replacement for the Re version, RHIE? No, so it's not a replacement.
You should
Yes.
fear. You should have fear.
I think it will be stopped.
You will ask question?
No,
So yeah, I guess this will be a replacement in that sense because they're going to stop. So new replacement models will come soon.
I mean, if you need to replace or either F5 or F6, we don't have iChart anymore.
Well, that's good news for those who wants, I would say, warranty in that sense. You'll be replaced with a new model.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian.
Okay. Where's Sir Solar?
Sige.
Mr. Nessa. Okay, there's a question is whether the battery would still be Polytech.
I'll just next.
We have extended the list of the batteries that are
course.
certified. But those generic
Yeah,
ones, I'm
next
trying to convince them, to have it certified. Because one, the reason for, I'm going to explain to you why generic BMS should be avoided if you're using any particular hybrid. For one reason, you have a voltage drift. There's a voltage drift if you're using a BMS that is not certified to use for a particular brand. Regardless of what brand it is, there is a voltage drift. So how does it work? It's simple. If you have a 16 lithium batteries, which is around 57.6 voltage, and having 100 Ah capacity, what will happen is the hybrid will only talk to your BMS. It doesn't look at your voltage. It doesn't look at your voltage. It will only rely on your BMS because it's communicating from your BMS. That's why what you see in your BMS, if it's 100 AH, it will only display 100 AH also. Now the problem is, if it's a generic, it's not certified. What will happen is there's a voltage drift. On the following morning, your battery will goes down to at least 1 volt, 0.01 volt, until it goes to 54 volts. But it's still 100 AH. Can you just imagine 54 volts, but yet it's still 100 AH? That's a voltage drift, which the hybrid, if not certified, cannot see it because what it's looking at the 100 AH, not the voltage. If you change to lead acid is different. Now it looks for the voltage. That's why it's very crucial, especially for you as an installer, and you're talking to the customer. It pays to have, it has premiums when you buy a branded certified battery because you are protected from it. Less problems. Yes, batteries like the generic brands which are flooding the market right now, it's cheaper on the first point of view, but in the long run, you'll have a lot of problems because of those issues that it doesn't communicate properly from the inverter's perspective and your hardware battery perspective. Because what happens is Pilotech sends their firmware and loaded it to the hybrid itself. So you're also covered by that warranty when it comes to using, because what we need to do, we can say that your Pilotech has an issue. You have to check, you have to report it to your vendor. We can tell that because of that partnership and certification. Yes.
Sir, do you have plans in the future to use your own battery, like Solis battery, power wall, something like that?
Solis battery is using Pilotech also for the all-in-one hybrid. Yes, there is an all-in-one hybrid, but not.
We have lots of battery for compressible. We have the battery lift. We can share to our clients.
Yeah, but those are, we're not selling here all-in-one, right? being supported. If you're going to buy, say, you're going to buy an all-in-one hybrid with batteries. We're using Palinsec. Oh, we don't sell the battery. We didn't sell the battery. Yes, sir. Sir Lorenz.
Yes, thank you, Sir Mark. I have actually a 1 unit of 6 kilowatt. It's only a grid type inverter. But what I'm about to ask is about the parallel system in relation to the CT clamping. If you use 5 pieces of and you connected it through parallel, how many CT sensors are you going to clamp with the main?
That's why we don't encourage using CT on parallel. Because remember, there's a timing difference. You know, the cycles that you have, your GTI has a different timing. They are not what we call, they are not sync in that sense. That's why that's one of the issues when you're doing a parallel system, which is their timing and their reading is not sync, and you're also using CT. That's why it's recommended for them to be able to have a sync or a unison communication. You need an EPM for that. You need an EPM because the EPM would eliminate all those timing syncs and power that it needs, because it will always talk to the grid tie. He knows the grid tie that you have 8, 7, 6, 5 power reserves. I only have 10. So among the 5, I will just instruct, okay, send me this because you have the power reserve.
Okay.
So that's the role of your APM. It will act as a governor to be able to have all of them in unison when it comes to power output.
Yeah.
And also on top of that, you have the graph, which very informative when it comes to showing it to your clients. Because you just the EPM would say at night, because currently the GTI cannot say how big is the power, how big is the energy using at night. The APM can do that. It will tell you you're using a 50 kilowatt hour at night, but only 20 kilowatt hour at day. So there's a discrepancy. As an installer, it's a gold mine, which you can explain it to your client.
Okay.
So I hope that answers, because when you parallel, that's why when doing parallel systems, GTI, you need to you need to buy an external EPM. This one, doing a parallel, you don't need an EPM. You only need 1 meter.
Okay.
So, this one, just the hybrid. So if you want to do a hybrid, everything, you only have 1 meter, you don't need an EPM. So, for those people who wants to do a parallel just for the purpose of GTI with an EPS, then you can do that. No need to buy an external EPM, just 1 meter. As you can see from the slides, right? See? As you can see from the slides, you only need 1 meter.
Yeah.
That one I cannot answer. It's more of the R&D.
Thank you,
and
Brian.
also the approach of the design. But the good news is, this one, you don't need an external EPM. You only need 1 meter, and they can all communicate using that with parallel.
Sir, I think this design can answer my problem. My problem.
Yes.
How come we cannot do this on the grid inverters?
How come this one cannot be used? This, let's say, capability is not present on the GTI with time inverters. Who can answer? Who can answer?
Because this design can eliminate the use of the EPM.
Correct. Yeah, no need for APM. All you need to do is, only meter. Only 1 meter. And they are all in parallel.
Our current GPI, sir, is already on meter. Can we do that? Because last week we installed 5 units of 8 kilowatts inverters in parallel. Can we do this design? Can we use a single meter?
No, by design na siya. Single phase.
Single phase.
No, it's not yet. You need an external meter for that because of the typing. Now, there's always a caveat for it. If your system being parallel syncs properly, that's fine. You can do away with your EPM. But the good thing about the EPM is also consolidation. Everything is fast. So if you have 5 GTIs, it's consolidated in EPM, where all of the generation, all the overload is on one single dashboard. But I would agree. Instead of buying well, this one is a bit expensive in terms of, let's say, if you want to buy the 6 kilowatt Vita inverter, just to do away with the APM, right? But if you're going to buy more than it, but still, it's still expensive in that sense. But if there's a function for it, which you think that your installation needs it, then it will answer your problem. Yes, sir.
Back and forth. Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I have a question this new version. What's the capacity of EPS? Is this the same with the
Yes.
capacity?
The previous slide would say 6 kilowatt. Its output also is 6 kilowatt. That's why you can see 125 amps discharge. So if you're going to convert it, yeah, that's 6 kilowatt at 48 volts.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just one more. So Mark, with that design, you mentioned that generator.
Remove all those cities and use this one.
I'm asking about the generator. You made mention a while ago that generator can charge the battery.
Yes.
Is there a requirement as to the size of the generator that will function normally?
I'm just going to. Here. Anyway, for those who are interested, I'm going to send this also. Whoever wants the slides, so that you'll be also better understand. You know. So as you can see, it's just a bit blurred. But there is an interface in here that communicates to your generator. Be that, I guess it's a switch or a relay or something. That's still not being, I would say, expanded more. Hopefully, by the time that the unit will be available, then we can explain it further. But
Okay.
right now, on the aspects of the support, they say that when there's a generator, you can use that to charge the battery.
It is irrespective of the size. Say,
Irrespective of the brand, the size, the kilowatt,
yeah.
as they say, it will charge. But right now, those things, it's still not really set on stones. So we're going to investigate it further once, the unit is here and we will be able to test it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Yes, sir.
What's the capacity suggest?
Purely upgrade.
3 kilowatt.
And
Generator is one pieces, right?
ang common problem ko sa
Generator
generator
suggests
with inverter is the frequency.
Look at this.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's a
Yeah,
certification for
how
that.
much? How many times? 1.5 times?
It's that inverter,
No.
but it's very
It can
sensitive sa
equal
frequency. Kasi
or more.
there are inverters
So
na very
1 or
sensitive.
1.2 higher.
Like
Yeah, because the
tolerance of,
small also count. Small like
like,
kilowatt. Also,
standard yan is
but if
60.
you follow,
Sometimes
cannot
kahit na 61.2
Yeah, correct.
hindi siya nag-work.
like you follow.
I agree.
Well,
There are inverters na even though it's 62 Hertz ang pumapasok, nag-work siya. Okay? And then, there are generators na you only need to put up around 6 to 10 kVA na hindi siya pwedeng lagyan ng communication with the inverter.
I
Standalone
will,
siya.
I will get back to you whether traditional generators can be used, but the feedback when I asked about this, because when it comes to generators, we really are interested, especially in the Philippines, because I tell them, since we put a generator in, what does the generator functions when it comes to our hybrid? And they say it will charge the battery. Now, how? That remains yet not really explained, but on the part of the frequency, all Solis, not all models, but some Solis models can do that. You need to look, all you need to do is to look for a certain certification if you want your GTI to work with your genset. There is a certification for that. I just did not have that here, but there is that's the reason why also I posted that Solis can work with easy coupling on other off-grid inverters because of that certification.
You ask
The off-grid inverters,
Solis
the off-grid inverter in question has a certification that allows that frequency issues.
You know there are many
Some
different
Solis
plan with
inverters
BMS,
also have a
where the
specific
commute with other plan
certification
like
similar to your off-grid, so you can do easy
Narada.
coupling.
Narada.
Yeah,
Because
also
if
Video.
your GTI doesn't have
LVO,
that certification
Ludo.
and you're going to couple it with your generator,
This I think
your generator will
because
shut
they
down.
do not offer battery.
Definitely your generator will shut
No,
down
he,
if
he made, he
they're
made
not on
mention
sync.
a while ago that
Because
any brand,
any spikes
brand
of
can
the
Yeah, yeah, I don't know how they have
of the power up and down, it's huge.
So you
Your
have
generator can
where the
handle it, it will shut down.
commute with.
But there are certain, this one has a
BMS.
certification. I'm just going to dig it more so that I can
Megalo.
post it on the group. So that you'll be able to understand that, the certification handles generators, whether conventional or not. Then I could ask further what type of generators can it sync to be able to charge it battery.
One more. Dapat yung generator na itetest natin, yung available dito sa atin.
Yes.
Na hindi siya industrial type, it should be commercial type generator.
Yeah, because for one, this one is
Kasi
more
that is only,
residential.
sabi natin residential siya. You won't buy a industrial generator, you only buy like 6 kVA or 10 kVA na
True.
generator, which is hindi siya, wala siyang communication with the inverters.
True.
So even though napapagana naman namin, pero you have to adjust mechanically yung frequency niya.
Yeah, because this one, like any Solis inverter, it has a frequency settings which is very variable. That's why it has a range, lower frequency and higher frequency up to 63. You can lower it down to 52 if you want, but beyond that, it's not already capable.
Thank you.
I guess.
Any questions?
Yes,
No, my English is
I
not so
think
good.
No, later.
Later, yeah. Yep. We ask.
I just say bravo. I don't have anything to
I also.
Because the mark is also private. The speaker.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
We do have several inverters installed in our hubs. We're using them for our internet systems. When we have a power failure,
He's
he's the blogger. Our servers also go down.
Wait,
Is that a function of a switching time?
That's a function. One is for the load. Second is your switching time also. Because servers are very sensitive.
Solis.
A server, especially a 1U, if you're talking about 1U server, by the way, dali kasi ako ng IT. If some of you were playing Ragnarok during the days, I handle all the servers.
He's the one.
So, ako ang bumuo ng server na yun. So, I know. The servers right now, for a 1U, it will eat up around 1050 watts. That's huge. So, because it's a dual power supply, and if your timing also is it's not in sync on the inverter. That's why we put it here at less than 10 milliseconds. At least from that perspective, if you have a critical load that needs fast switching, this one is for you, right? Because some UPS, except for other UPS, which is really huge, because your load or your inverter power is heavily dependent on the battery. If your battery cannot supply a huge amount of current that needs on your server, it will shut down. It won't be able to supply its server because of that time switch. So, how many servers do you think you're having on? What's the model? What's the model of the server? Is it tower type or pizza type?
Pizza type.
Yeah, that's huge. So pizza type right now around 1050 watts. Coupled it with your switches and also with your you're using a UPS or using a GTI hybrid.
We are using the non-hybrid yet, the off-grid type. On-grid type.
That should be adjusted. You should adjust your switching in that sense. Yeah, that's why this one, the new version, specifically for the heavy loads and also less than 20 milliseconds. Some servers cannot handle 20 milliseconds, which is the standard, because of their power, which is especially when it's very busy. Both the memory and the processor is running in a full load, and there's a sudden influx of power or fluctuation, it will shut down. And there's also one, if you're using a branded one, which I think you are, on the BIOS, you can do that. You can also set some parameters in the BIOS that will be able to, dampen the issue of switching.
One question.
Go ahead, yes sir.
This is a follow-up question of our gentleman regarding the use of gensets.
Yes, sir.
He operated 24/7, and we also have gensets in our hubs. There are some gensets, and our problem is that these are smaller ones, non-industrial. If you use this, normally some of them doesn't work with the inverters.
Yes, definitely. Some of it. That's why it's important to be able to read the data sheet of your inverters that you're going to purchase. Because there's a certain certification, not all Solis brand, not all Solis models has it. There's a certain certification that indicates because of that frequency that you can use on your generator or on your off. So I just did not able to get the specific certification number, but there is. So version 6, no, S6 to model from 1 kilowatt to 6 kilowatt there is. 8 kilowatt, I don't know if it's supported, but on most cases, the most important thing is you have to know what certification do you need to be able for your GTI to communicate to your generator, since your generator, when it comes to frequency, is very erratic. That's the main issue, because if they're not in sync, they don't tilt each other. Most often, your generator will shut down. The GTI will shut it down for you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Oh, marami tayong oras. Hanggang alas 9 dito eh.
Sir Mark, does the new model has a internal pipe?
No. As previously on the slides, it's natural convection. So it's airflow. That's why you need to put it on a well-ventilated place. So sa mga installers, it's better to have its own place. Like in my case, I don't have issues with this. Even the previous model, because I have a solar room itself. And also, my setup is in Baguio, so I don't have any issues when it comes to temperature.
Yes, sana all.
Again, we should remember, the rating factor is 45 degrees on Solis. I don't know some other brands, but Solis is under 45 centigrade.
Sir, another question. On the EPS, can we put inductive loads?
Yes and no. Inductive loads, your inrush current should not exceed with its maximum current capability. Because what will happen is, it will shut down because it cannot deliver the proper power or the proper current. Because we all know when it comes to inductive, there's a huge inrush current that needs to be supported, especially when you're using a water pump. Majority of the killer when it comes to the hybrid inverter are water pumps. Yung iba pa nga building, my goodness.
This one?
Can you imagine that?
How about sir,
Where's
the
Kevin?
aircons?
It was?
Aircons, yes, especially the inverter ones.
It's a Chinese also,
again,
come from China.
10 kilowatt sir, how many?
So, who's
Sa
what's the
one
John?
perspective
John
ko, I don't
managing?
know, for me kasi, even though I'm not an
In charge in
installer,
Philippines is
I have
Victor.
a complete set of hardware.
Suppose it's
I
another one.
have a specifically inrush current clamp
Victor.
meter.
So,
before
Victor.
I'm going to use it, I'm
Here.
checking my inductive.
That's the person
whether
here in
it
the
can-
Philippines.
whether
Oh,
that
who is the boss?
inductive load
No.
can
Who
be
is the
able to
boss?
handle my
I wonder
inverter.
both I have.
Which all installers should have
It's
an
Kevin
inrush
Wang.
current clamp meter. Because that's your basis on designing on what
Here.
specific
That's the
hybrid or
boss.
how many hybrids do you need just to support your load.
Kevin.
Right? It's not a matter of 6 kilowatt, my motor is only 1 HP. But we all know that the motor, if it cannot
Kevin Wang.
get the water because it's sucking it, the surge current also goes up more than its
Yeah.
specific
He's the boss.
say
Yeah.
value. Some will
You see
go
that?
from 7 to 8.
That's Nicole.
My conventional
She's also the seller.
aircon times 7.
So, he is in
0.75.
China?
But the
Yeah, in
current,
China.
but the
Always-
inrush
always
current
in China.
is,
Yes.
Do you not come here?
7x.
No, only Victor.
So it's important. It's not a question whether it can handle or not. It's a question is you must
How about
match
the
it
John?
that your load should match on the maximum also load
John
capability
Wang.
of your
Yeah.
Only the seller.
hardware.
Of Sia.
Regardless of
Seller.
brand.
Yeah, seller
no?
only.
Regardless of brand.
He
They will
got
say they have 3x,
batteries
2x,
from
no.
This one.
Yeah, that one.
All hybrid inverters, hybrid on-grid,
So, do you
are
have
high
the price
frequency.
list of
I don't know if someone
video?
knows about, there's a
Yeah.
low frequency
Position,
hybrid
the video.
on-grid
So,
inverters.
I mean, the price list,
Yeah,
Price
Toyota
list
or
with
IE.
the battery, the video.
That's why I said
Little-
on the
bit.
earlier
I just
discussion
asked
that
You don't
Victor.
have.
if
I do
you
not have
want
the price
to
list. I
have
just
your
asked
load
Victor.
24/7, the best hybrid is
They
the
did
best
not offer
hybrid
you
is
the list,
hybrid off-grid
price list?
because they are tolerable
No, they
in
do
that
not.
sense.
When
They
you
have high
ask, they will
surge
tell you.
capability. and
only
also
the message.
they also designed as a grid replacement. This one, it's not for grid replacement, it's for emergency purposes.
The service of this one, sir, is times 2.
No, I have to tell you outright. So, right now, it's not let's see how big. Let's see the specs first, so I wasn't able to see the maximum output current is 40. So the 6 kilowatt will be the mainstream model, can only handle 40 amps AC side. So make sure that your inrush current over inductive load will not exceed 40 amps.
Max.
If it
Huge part,
don't,
including huge
you're
part.
good. The second question
40
is,
times 2,
can your
220.
battery handle it?
230.
Right? Can your battery handle it? Because
But it
batteries,
is huge.
as what we call, if
protect
battery
myself.
itself, without any BMS, or especially the lithiums, right? It can go up to 3C when it comes to instantaneous current usage. So it can go to 3C.
3C.
But if you put a BMS on it, that's a different story. Lead acid doesn't have issues because it doesn't have a BMS. And also can do as much as 2. I believe some models can do as much as 2C when it comes to instantaneous current usage. So design-wise, people should not look only on the specs of the server or the hybrid, but also the capability of your battery and its capacity. That's why data sheets are there for you to be able to understand whether these two goes hand in hand. Because most cases, installers, especially the DIYers, will always say there's an issue of the hardware, which is not. It's just that they don't know how to read the data sheet and translate it to the current load that they have.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Hanggang alas 9 tayo dito, okay lang.
Hello, good afternoon. In addition to the question of inverse current of the motor and also in relationship with the hybrid inverter, I just want to ask, you tell me for that you have 40 amperes in last current, and suppose that how many milliseconds of during time of the between time in current characteristic of your inverter, and also in comparison with the AC motor with inductive load, how many milliseconds?
I have the value because I asked that. I'll get back at you. Currently, I already asked that what's the time. Yes.
I must know actually the time current curve of the inverter must not during the starting period of the motor must not what should I say, it must not be during peak period. The time of the inverter must be higher.
Correct.
Between this and the motor.
Yes, but this one, the old models, I have the value. It's a good question. I have the value, but this one I'm going to ask. There are some multiplication which is 1.2, but still small. Still really small. 1.2 at 10 milliseconds or something. But I'm going to get back at you and I'll post it. I need the R&D in that sense because that's one of the product questions. Right now it's just the basic, but I can get that for you. Their system. Majority I've seen are using safety devices that are Type C. Those are not for inverters, I have to tell you. So if you dig deeper when it comes to designing, you don't use Type C on your system because Type C is only for motor or inductive loads. Household loads, you don't need Type C for that. You need Type B or Type A. Depending again on relevant to his question on the curve of your safety devices. Some of it doesn't understand, doesn't know, because when we buy safety devices, it doesn't include data sheets. If you're going to buy branded safety devices, it includes with data sheets and with proper curve. And you know now how to calculate how much we'll be able to see, so that when there's an overload coming in, your safety devices first will shut down, not your inverter. Yes, sir. No. I'm not saying it. I'm saying it. Type C, Type E, Type B is not meant for your hybrid. You have to search for it kasi mahal. For inverter type, you need to look for Type Z safety devices.
So yung local distributor ba ng Solis dito sa Pilipinas, they will provide us that kind of circuit breakers?
No, because that's external, that's accessories. It's your responsibility as an electrical engineer, as an installer, to be able to understand how to interpret data sheets of your safety devices. That's why for me, anything that I buy, if it doesn't have any data sheet, I don't buy.
So will the local supplier will support the technically regarding that matter?
Again, it goes back.
Like the brand?
It goes back when it's an inverter type, there's a safety device for inverter type. You'll be the one to do the calculation, not them.
No. I know that. Ang point ko lang is, will the local supplier will support the distributor or the installer or the DIYers?
For what local?
Like, yung local supplier ng Solis, di ba?
Iyan.
Will you supply, like,
No.
Iyan,
available ba kayong mga...
No, they don't have that because, for one, it is assumed that as a electrical engineer or an installer knows how to use it. What specific hardware is you going to use for specific safety device? Because safety devices has its own data sheet. You have to understand how. You need to have to understand it, which even the PE and the RE are not aware of it, because that's a different aspect when it comes to designing. Specific designing.
Yes, that's noted. But you said na hindi nga ang iba wala ng data sheet, yung mga ibang protectors, yung mga
And you don't buy.
di ba? So, if ever, like, I want to make sure kung ano yung tama yung rate na nilagay ko based doon sa computation ko, can I ask the local supplier na, is this right? Or can the local supplier will